If you're watching this video, chances are you know this feeling. You sit down at your desk in the morning. You're focused. You're determined. You're ready. And for a while, maybe an hour, maybe two, you're actually doing great. And then something shifts. Your thinking goes foggy. Your body feels heavy. A kind of exhaustion sets in that goes beyond just being tired. It's deeper than that, like your whole system has quietly powered down. And the voice in your head says, "What is wrong with me? I want you to hear me on this. Nothing is wrong with you. What you're experiencing has a name. It has a cause. And most importantly, it has a solution." My name is Esther Kaine. I'm a psychotherapist with 30 years of experience helping highly sensitive people understand and care for their nervous systems. And as a highly sensitive person myself, I have lived everything I'm about to share with you. Today, we are going to explore exactly what happens inside the HSP nervous system when you hit that wall at work, why it happens, what's really driving it, and how to build a work life that actually honors who you are. Make sure to watch the entire video because at the end, I will be leading you through a guided meditation to help you reset your nervous system. Now, imagine we're sitting in my therapy office together. Soft lamp, cozy blanket, gentle quiet. Let's begin. Part 1. What is actually happening when you hit the wall? I want to start by giving you a concept that has changed the lives of almost every HSP client I have ever worked with. It's called your sensory budget. Think of it like a daily energy account. Every single morning, you wake up with a certain amount of neurological currency to spend. And throughout your day, through every piece of information you process, every emotion you feel, every sound you filter, every social interaction you navigate, you are spending from that account. Now, here is the difference for highly sensitive people. Your nervous system processes everything more deeply than the average person. That is not a flaw. That is literally how you are wired. Researchers call it depth of processing. Your brain doesn't simply register incoming information. It cross-references it, analyzes it, and responds to it on a much more profound level. And that depth, as beautiful as it is, comes with a cost. You are spending more from your sensory budget on everything. The hum of the air conditioning, the energy in a tense meeting, the subtext in a colleague's email. Things that a non-HSP might filter automatically. You feel all of it. And here is what makes it even harder to recognize. It's never one big thing. It's the accumulation. It's the fluorescent lights and the open plan office noise and the back-to-back meetings and the difficult interaction at 9 in the morning. Each one feels manageable on its own, but together they stack. I remember one of my clients, let's call her Avani. Avani was a project manager, brilliant, thoughtful, deeply empathetic. She described her crashes as falling through the floor. One minute she was clear and capable. The next, she couldn't string two thoughts together. She had spent years believing something was fundamentally broken inside her. When I explained the sensory budget, when I showed her that this wasn't a character flaw, it was simply her nervous system reaching its natural threshold, she burst into tears. Not from sadness, but from relief. This isn't about weakness, it's about wiring. And once you understand your wiring, everything starts to change. Part 2, the 4 hidden nervous system drains. Now I want to give you a framework, a way of mapping where your sensory budget is actually going, because most HSPs I work with can identify 1 or 2 of these. The other 2 are almost always invisible to them. Let me take you through each one. Drain number 1, sensory overload. This is the most visible drain, and yet it is still deeply misunderstood. Harsh fluorescent lighting, Open plan offices with constant background noise, the ping of notifications, crowded elevators. These are not minor inconveniences for a highly sensitive person. They are active neurological costs. Your nervous system cannot filter them the way a non-HSPs can. They are always in the background, and they are always spending. Drain number 2, emotional contagion. This one is quiet, it's invisible, and it's absolutely exhausting. Highly sensitive people are neurologically wired to attune to the emotional states of the people around them. You walk past a stressed colleague, someone who doesn't say a single word, and you carry their anxiety for the rest of the afternoon. You sit in a tense meeting, and even if the tension has nothing to do with you, your nervous system feels as though it does. You might not even know where it came from. You just know that something feels heavy. Drain number 3, decision fatigue. Because HSPs process so deeply, every decision, large or small, costs more neurological energy than it does for a less sensitive person. So by 2 o'clock in the afternoon, after a full day of meetings and choices and navigating office dynamics, your decision-making tank is often running on empty. And then someone asks you one more simple question, and it feels completely overwhelming. That's not drama, that's depletion. And drain number 4. This is the one that almost nobody talks about, the suppression tax. For most HSPs, especially those who grew up being told they were too sensitive, a huge portion of every workday is spent managing how they appear, keeping reactions in check, smiling when overwhelmed, saying, "I'm fine," when they are absolutely not fine. That performance costs energy, enormous amounts of it. I remember a client, let's call him Marcus. Marcus was an HSS, a high sensation seeker. For more on this, watch this video. Which meant he actually craved new experiences and stimulation. He had thrived working from home for 2 years. When his company called everyone back to the office, Marcus crashed within 3 weeks. The content of his work hadn't changed. His skills hadn't changed. His workload hadn't changed. The environment had. That was the entire problem. Once we identified which of the 4 drains were hitting him hardest, sensory overload and emotional contagion in his case, he was finally able to take targeted action, and his crashes stopped. Before we get into the strategies, and I promise you, what's coming is genuinely practical and life-changing. If any of this is landing for you, it would mean so much if you take a moment to subscribe. Every other Wednesday, I share tools exactly like these to help you understand your nervous system and build a life that truly fits who you are. All right, let's keep going. Part 3, why willpower is the wrong tool. Let me tell you the single most common mistake I see highly sensitive people make at work. They push through. They feel the fog coming. They feel the heaviness. They notice the early warning signs, and they tell themselves, just hold on. Just get to the end of the day. And then they crash harder. Here is what you need to understand. The HSP nervous system does not bounce back the way a non-HSP's does. A 5-minute distraction, scrolling your phone, grabbing a coffee, is not recovery. True nervous system recovery for a highly sensitive person requires complete decompression, quiet, stillness, a genuine break from stimulation. When you push past your threshold without real recovery, you are not toughing it out. You are borrowing from tomorrow's sensory budget, and eventually the debt comes due. I often remind my clients, rest is not optional for HSPs. It's maintenance. The same way you wouldn't drive a car with no oil and then wonder why the engine is overheating. Now, Let me share something that genuinely changed the lives of several of my clients. Your body has a built-in rhythm. Every hour and a half or so, whether you notice it or not, your energy naturally rises and then it needs to dip. It's like a tide. It comes in, it goes out. It comes in, it goes out. This isn't something you're doing wrong. It's not a willpower problem. It's simply how your nervous system is designed to work. And for HSPs, who are already spending more from their energy account than most, ignoring that tide doesn't make it stop. It just means you get swept under. What does that look like in practice? Focused, uninterrupted work for roughly 90 minutes. Then a genuine recovery window, 10 to 15 minutes of real quiet. Not a meeting, not a phone call, not even music if you're fully depleted. Actual stillness. I had a client, let's call her Annabelle. Annabelle was an executive, whip smart, deeply passionate about her work, and chronically exhausted. She'd convinced herself that the only solution was to push harder, to be more disciplined. We tried something different. She began scheduling what she called her dark room time, 15 minutes at lunch, alone, in a quiet space, no phone, no screens, no interaction. 6 months later, she received the promotion she had convinced herself she would never be capable of. She didn't work harder. She worked with her nervous system. I want to invite you to take a breath here. Because what I'm describing is not self-indulgence. It is not a luxury. It is the only sustainable way to do good work as a highly sensitive person. Let's take that in. Part 4, the sensitive work system. What I'm about to share are 5 strategies I use with my clients. Not general wellness advice, not theory. Specific, practical tools built around how the highly sensitive nervous system actually works. Strategy number 1, the sensory audit. This week, I want you to do something very simple. Take a piece of paper or open a note in your phone and write down your 3 biggest sensory drains at your specific workplace. Not a general list from the internet, your list. The exact things that are spending from your budget every single day. Awareness is always the first step. You cannot work with a drain you haven't named. Strategy number 2, protected recovery windows. These are non-negotiable quiet blocks built into your day before you need them. Even 5 minutes of genuine solitude, away from screens, away from interaction, can meaningfully reset your nervous system's baseline. This is not a break. This is maintenance. Schedule it accordingly and protect it like any other important appointment. Strategy number 3, the single thread method. Because HSPs process so deeply, every context switch, moving from one task to another, costs significantly more energy for you than it does for a non-HSP. Multitasking is not a neutral habit for a highly sensitive person. It is a fast track to depletion. The single thread method is exactly what it sounds like. You choose one task. You give it your full attention. You complete it or reach a natural stopping point before you allow yourself to switch. It feels almost too simple. My clients are consistently surprised by how dramatically it changes their afternoons. Strategy number 4, strategic social recharge. There is an important distinction I want to draw for you here between withdrawing and restoring. Withdrawing is reactive. It happens after you've already crashed and you disappear because you have no other choice. Restoring is proactive. It's choosing in advance how and when you will recover your social energy. That might mean leaving a group gathering 15 minutes early. It might mean choosing to eat lunch alone twice a week. It might mean requesting a one-on-one conversation instead of a large team meeting. You are not antisocial. You are managing a finite resource wisely. There is a profound difference. Strategy number 5, reading your own signals. This is the one that changes everything. Most HSPs don't recognize their own depletion until they've already hit the wall. By then, recovery takes hours and sometimes days. The goal is to catch the early warning signs. The 3 I see most consistently in my clients are a subtle flattening of emotions, difficulty finding words mid-conversation, and a growing sense of irritability or overwhelm at things that would normally feel manageable. These are your nervous system raising its hand and saying, I need support. Now. I had a client, let's call him Rio. Rio had spent 15 years white-knuckling his way through every single workday in a way that sleep no longer touched. Once he learned to read his own nervous system signals, to catch the early warning, not to wait for the crash, something fundamental shifted. He told me a few months later, for the first time in my career, I actually enjoy going to work. You are not alone in this. You are not too much. You are wired differently, and there is profound wisdom in that wiring. Let's bring this all together. Today, we explored the sensory budget, why yours depletes faster than most people around you, and why that is wiring and not weakness. We named the 4 hidden drains: sensory overload, emotional contagion, decision fatigue, and the suppression tax. We talked about why willpower is the wrong tool and why rest is not optional for HSPs. It's maintenance. And we walked through 5 strategies you can begin using this week: the sensory audit, protected recovery windows, the single thread method, strategic social recharge, and reading your own signals. These are not overnight transformations. They are the beginning of a different relationship with your nervous system, one built on understanding rather than force. I would love to hear from you. What is your biggest energy drain at work right now? Leave it in the comments below. I read every single one, and your answer might be exactly what someone else needs to feel less alone today. And if you haven't yet watched my video on which careers are the best fit for highly sensitive people, I'll put the link right here. That video is the where to work piece. Today was the how to work piece. Together, they give you the complete picture. Before we close today, I want to give you a gift. It's the bonus that I was talking about earlier, the nervous system reset guided meditation. You've just taken in a lot. Your nervous system has been working, processing, feeling, integrating, and it deserves a moment to rest before you carry this back into your day. So let's do that together. Find a comfortable position wherever you are right now. If you're sitting, let your back be gently supported. If you're lying down, that's perfectly fine too. There's no right touch. Your heart has been working very hard, not just today, for a long time. Take a moment to acknowledge that. Down into your belly. Let it be soft. Let it rise and fall without control. And all the way down through your legs, your feet, and the soles of your feet resting against the ground. Feel the earth beneath you, solid and steady. It is always there. You are always held. Now, I want you to imagine your breath as a tide, slow, rhythmic, completely trustworthy. It comes in and it goes out. It comes in and it goes out. Breathing in now, slowly, like a wave moving toward the shore. And breathing out, gently pulling back, carrying everything you don't need with it. With every breath in, your nervous system softens just a little more. With every breath out, you return a little more fully to yourself. Breathing in and breathing out. And now, as you rest here in this quiet, I want to offer you some words. You don't have to believe them fully yet. You just have to let them in. I am not too much. I am not too sensitive. I am wired differently, and there is profound wisdom in that wiring. My depth is not a burden. It is a gift. I am allowed to rest. I am allowed to recover. Rest is not weakness. It is how I do my best work. I am not alone in this. I have all of my HSP buddies here with me. There are over 2 billion of us across the world. I am enough, exactly as I am. Let's take one final breath together, the deepest one yet. Breathing in through your nose, all the way, filling every corner of your lungs. Hold it. And a long, slow breath out through your mouth, completely, all the way to empty. Beautiful. When you're ready, begin to gently bring your awareness back to the room around you. Notice the sounds nearby, the light, the temperature of the air. Take your time. There's no rush. Slowly, when it feels right, let your eyes open. What you just did, pausing, breathing, returning to yourself, is not small. For a highly sensitive person who has spent years pushing through, it is one of the most courageous things that you can do. Carry that gentleness with you as you move back into your day. Working with your nervous system rather than against it is one of the most profound acts of self-respect a highly sensitive person can make. You deserve a work life that fits who you truly are. Take good care of your sensitive soul.